right in the heart of a silver bullet.
I think they're plotting on man. Don't wipe their feet when they enter the L.A.R. I feel a cold stare.
You need to listen to this.
I'll never forget this case. It was heartbreaking. There was this, I think he was 10-year-old little boy. And he used to say to his dad, when you drop me off after our visit, can we stop before we turn onto Mom's street? And I'll give you a hug and I'll tell you I love you. Because then when we get to the house, I'm gonna get out of the car and yell that I hate you and I never wanna see you again, and I'm gonna run up to Mom's. Because this kid at 10 had figured out that if he let Mom know he loves Dad, that Mom would be mad at him and she would be cold to him. And he also knew that his father loved him so much that he could do that and yell at him and he would understand. And so they had this routine for 2 fucking years where they would pull up and get out of the car and he'd hug him and he'd tell him he loved him. And then he'd get back in the car and he'd pull up to the house and the kid would get out and slam the door and yell, I hate you, I never want to see you again, and run back up to Mom's, and Mom would shuffle him in, my poor baby. What do you think that does to a kid? What do you think that does? What effect do you think that has on a kid? How could you create conditions like that and claim you love that kid? But the problem is we have a system that is ill-equipped to deal with that.
What's happening? Family court can't fix this. See, this is the stuff that people don't talk about enough when it comes to these situations. And I'm going to add a bunch of stuff when I saw the teacher who was crying about their kids not being able to read and write at their grade level. Family court can't fix that because family court don't care about that. Family court don't go, Mama sent the kid to school, took a picture with a bunch of money, but the kid is not really good at reading and writing. But the kid looks happy with the money, but the kid don't know anything. Family court's not going to fix that. You get what I'm saying? Family court's not going to deal with that concept of, this kid has to have an attitude on the phone with their dad because it makes Mom feel more important. This kid has to disrespect their love one set of grandparents and hate another set of grandparents to make his, let's just say, maternal family feel better. Family court ain't gonna fix that. We put this kid through the ringer, and now they're diagnosed with all of these fake conditions because in the home they created a manipulative life. We're not teaching you good manners and good character. We're teaching you, do what I need you to do to make me look good and make me feel good and be my ally and be their enemy. The family court ain't gonna fix that. How many times y'all seen kids lie in their statements and in court? And it comes out that it's a lie. The judge knows it's a lie. The lawyers know that it's a lie, but it was said on the record, so it contradicts itself. But we know this kid was manipulated to say this stuff. But all we care about, are you gonna make those payments? Are you gonna, are you gonna follow our instructions to when you can see your kid? And if they don't follow the instructions on when you can see your kid, are you gonna come back here and pay us some more money? See, the family court ain't gonna fix that. And I said it before that all family court does is enable bad behavior to be cultivated, so years later they can be in criminal court right across the street. And see, family court ain't gonna talk about that either. Hold up, don't I know this kid? Why is this name familiar? That name's familiar because you or your colleagues, y'all were talking about a case and it was wild and it was like, yeah, that's crazy. But they're gonna maintain custody. Yup. And then 10 years later, That name sounds familiar. How are you in my courtroom? They're in your courtroom because you sided with the bad behavior that was being taught to them. Your own laws, your own system sided with lying, cheating, stealing, manipulating. So now it was exacerbated in the home life. And then all of a sudden, later on, why these kids look like this? Why these kids are acting like this? Because of you. You know, family court don't actually care about these kids' education anymore. Oh, if dad's in a better school district, does family court care? No. If dad has a better family life, does the family care court? Does the family court care? No. No. And the fact that he's telling the story and the dad's we gotta play this game. Because these kids know. A kid that young knows. And even, and I'm gonna get into this part of it, even that concept of denial. Family court don't want to deal with that. Because you can find something, it can happen live and living color on tape. You know what the family court is gonna go, nah, not that bad. Why is it not that bad? I talked about this in a video recently. There's a mother who killed her kids, and she copped the insanity plea. Seemed very sane as you know in an interview after on television talking to the news. But hey, and at the same time, ironically, there's a guy in jail who killed his whole family, and he found a wife who, I love you. See, family court can't fix that. You you give custody to one. If mother kills the kids, you let the mother off the hook, and then she can go out and live her life again. Oh my God, because it wasn't ever about the kids. It was about the money you can make off of the child support itself. Whatever happens to the kids doesn't matter as long as those payments are being made. Because the family court don't care about that. Knowing this stuff happens. And you know how I know? I forgot the name of that doggone system, Wizard, whatever it is, when all the it goes through the court app where all of the phone calls and the text messages and the emails, the court has to look over them. Let me tell y'all something. Them judges don't read them damn cases. They don't care. The same judge can have the same two parents in their court 5-6 times in a 2-year span, and they won't. It doesn't dawn on them. I remember y'all. You remember them, but you don't remember what's going on. Let me just agree with what I said last time, and the time before that, and the time before that, and the time before that. Which means you ruled one time and you just followed your ruling over and over again because you didn't look into this stuff. They're coming to court, and a lot of times the fathers know we're coming to court knowing the case is important to us. It's not important to you. You don't care. You're not even reading your own ruling, your own judgments, your own notes. It doesn't. You don't even remember last time I was here. You said da 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 da. It happened. Now we here. I said that. Are you sure I said that, motherfucker? Okay, look. If it happens again, you come back and I'll remember it then. And they back in court. You said it. You said it already. That if this happens, this is what it's gonna be. I said that. Yeah, and you said let's do it again to see if it really happens because I don't remember. And now we're here again. Yes, I did say that. Well, well, let's just keep doing what we're doing. Okay. Right. See, and I say that to say this, because the one thing that I've noticed is from like 10 to 14, you see these kids change drastically. because the bad character has been enabled to the point where they realize, the kids realize, the court don't care and my mama don't care, and I've been team mama. I'm just using the mama as I've been team mama this whole time. Now I realize that I'm in a house with no love. So let me just go out into the world and show the world no love, because that's what how it's supposed to be, right? And then people go, "What's going on in society?" What do you mean, what's going on in society? The society you set up. You did this. No, we didn't do this. You did this. You didn't protect these kids when they had to play all these games to please a parent, to feel to get treated like a child. You didn't care. So at the end of the day, the family courts can't fix this because the family courts ain't trying. The family courts don't. The family courts are bitter baby mamas. They don't care about anything but the money. If the kids' arms get chopped off, they don't give a damn. If the kids psychologically tortured, they don't give a damn. You know, they don't. So and the lawyer's like, man, how are we doing this? And it's like, yeah, because because it pays. Because they know, and nothing's gonna change. Because the mentality isn't about actually putting kids in successful positions to win in life. The mentality is what's the best household they can be in that we can make a dime and they can hopefully destroy them so my kids don't have to compete against them when they become adults. That's what the family court's about. That's why it ain't gonna be able to fix these problems. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Catch you on the next one. Peace.